Are you Christian?
Hold on. No.
Okay.
If someone asks me,
why do you
if
keep
I
calling me
God,
atheist? If you,
I'm Christian adjacent. I'm Christian
listen,
adjacent.
I never.
But you're cringe atheist adjacent, Adam. That's the difference.
But you've put the atheist.
Are you not atheist?
You put
what
the.
Are you agnostic?
Look, I never call myself an atheist. You put the atheist label on me like 5 times in this conversation. That's like. Like no, imagine me sitting here and every response going, oh, but you're white, so okay.
No. First
yeah, okay,
you're white adjacent.
but you're white adjacent, so like
no.
You're cringe.
But you're cringe.
No.
So yeah, it's like weird. I don't have atheists in my bio. Like I don't like.
First off,
make atheist videos.
It's an aesthetic, Adam. It's an aesthetic.
Okay. Go back and watch. I at no point in our honest conversation cited your cringe.
Now he's doing the okay sign. What's that all about? You're white.
That's what I'm talking about. This
white
is my rationale
adjacent. Now he's doing the white power
sign. It's a comedy show.
It's all about likability. Exactly. Listen. At no point would I have cited your cringe atheist adjacency as a serious. That's all This
it was all
okay.
Exactly.
As it says, this is a
okay.
So I appreciate the honest exploration of ideas that Adam was willing to engage with.
Even for a white guy, you did pretty good.
Up yours, woke moralist. But,
yeah. Everyone subscribe to PF Jung. Check it out. Yeah, you can think of liberalism as like a city. You know, there are many roads to Rome. And well, I agree, Carl is saying this road is falling apart and, you know, not a good way to get there. I'm saying, well, there are a lot of ways to get there, and we have these other ways that other people are using. So
right. Okay. So let me put it in a metaphor in the way that I think about it. Are you guys familiar with League of Legends?
Yes.
Unfortunately, a little bit.
Unfortunately.
League of Legends is awesome, Sitch.
League of Legends.
No, I don't know anything about it. I'm totally talking.
Adam's never played a MOBA in his life.
Okay, so, and the details don't matter too much, but for people watching who know League of Legends, I think they'll appreciate this.
Give me a HOTS metaphor.
A what metaphor?
Heroes of the Storm.
Is Heroes of the Storm the first person one?
No, that was the Blizzard's.
Okay, same thing. Is there 3 lanes? Top lane, middle
MOBA,
lane, bottom lane? Yeah, MOBA. Right. Okay, all right. So here's what I was going to say. So from a mimetic perspective, you guys know like Dawkins' theory of memes, right? Right. So from a mimetic perspective, this is how I understand your argument, Adam. This is the analogy. So MOBA, which is the 2 bases in the corner, bottom left, top right, top lane, middle lane, bottom lane. That, you know how that originally started? That was originally a Warcraft 3 mod.
I know, Defense of the Ancients.
Yeah. Defense of the Ancients, right. So one person, one time, came up with the idea of we're going to mod Warcraft 3 on this game engine. And then it, through translation over the years, became, isn't it the #1 sport in like Korea? It's like the NFL of Korea.
I wouldn't be surprised,
like honestly. So that's an example of Dawkins' idea of a meme, where it starts off as a meme, or just like a mutation, you could say, from one person's random inspiration, and then that gets translated into, you have Warcraft 3, which is just this one mod on one game engine, and now it's League of Legends, which is this whole, e-sport that dominates the world or whatever. And Adam, your point is like, if we want to analyze League of Legends today, we don't need to know that that it started from Warcraft 3. Like the fact that it came from Warcraft 3 might be historically accurate, but analyzing Warcraft 3 and all the characters and shit doesn't help tell you what the best characters in League of Legends are or anything like that. So the idea is memes, because that's cultural evolution. You don't need to trace the origin back to analyze them.
Okay,
but you need to know how it's being sustained now. That's the problem.
Sure. Okay, as someone who completely understands your metaphor,
thank you.
I don't agree with it.
Go ahead.
Because you can make a counter argument. You can say, well, wait a minute. There could be fundamental flaws in League of Legends that hone back from the programming of Warcraft 3. For example, last hitting mobs for experience. The only reason that was part of the game was because it had to be part of the game, because that was part of the programming of Warcraft 3. Right. So maybe we should get rid of that. Maybe that was a fundamental flaw from its origin point.
Right. So the secondary analogy is, what if we were running on the same software? Because if we were running on the same software, if it was the same game engine, then you would need to analyze, to your point, what the original iteration of it was, right? Because that's like a genetic argument. Like we do actually need to analyze chimpanzees and our ancestors for genetic information because we're running on the same hardware. Okay, so here is this is not a argument or a justification. This is how I think the argument lays out. So did you guys watch the Richard Dawkins and Brett Weinstein debate they had a couple years ago?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, that's one of I've seen that like 3 times. It's one of my favorite. So if you recall, Adam, he said memes are extended phenotypes, right? Memes are designed to serve the genes. So the idea is, and this synthesizes with Peterson, is that nice kisses everywhere. Is that the idea is that
I got him. I totally got him.
I know. And hold on.
Why do you have that?
What's up, Sitch? Oh, I forgot you can see me now.
Why do you have that?
What's the matter? My wife came in and gave me a little peck on the cheek.
Anyway. You're just
Are
trying to
those
throw
not
Young
animated?
off
Those are real? No, that's
Of
not
course.
No, it's not
real.
real.
No,
Of course it's real.
Yeah.
Anyway, before I was utterly derailed.
Yes, thank you.
Oracle
Thank you.
diversionary tactics.
Yes,
Can I do this with Sam Cedar? Can I use this in the Sam Cedar debate?
you should. You should. Okay. Well, anyway, back to
Back to
what you were
serious
saying.
talk.
Yeah, back to serious topic. Warcraft 3 and whatnot.
And Dota,
And Dota. Richard Dawkins and Jordan Peterson.
Right. Memes have to serve culture, or
Right.
cultural memes serve the genes. Yes, I agree.
But only if natural selection has had enough time to select against them. So, for example, like Weinstein will talk about like propaganda or like advertisements. Like it appeals to like a base emotion or like an archetypal emotion, like, oh, you need to be more beautiful, or oh, you need to do this for your friends and family or whatever. But because that narrative has only been around recently, if we like orient our culture around advertising and propaganda, it wouldn't work out for our genes because it's a parasitical meme.
Yes.
So
exactly.
so and again, this is not I'm not saying that this is evidence that Sargon is correct, which I don't think he's actually correct, because I think he's not going deep enough in terms of the Christian aspect. He needs to go deeper to the origin of religions. But the idea is that the reason that we need to understand Christianity and religion is because so liberalism, which is a meme, right? You could say a meme complex, you could say. It's a meme complex that is the current instantiation of however many hundreds of thousands or millions of years of cultural evolution that led up to this point. And so then it's like, okay, to Sitch's point about, well, what if we're like Warcraft 3, what if we're operating on the same game engine? It's like, well, our genes, and this is what Peterson talks about when he says consciousness played a role in the direction of evolution itself through sexual selection. He's saying that certain memes became so influential to the course of evolution that they became archetypes. And so you have to understand the archetypes, because the archetypes are those cultural memes that are related to our genetic wiring, unlike, Warcraft 3, which is a new thing that just appeared, and, it could have taken any shape. It could have been a MOBA, it could have been Call of Duty, it could have been CSGO, but we evolved to respond to archetypes. And I think the reason that you need to analyze religion, and you need to keep religion, at a certain point, your rationality runs out, right? You have to divert to axioms and faith claims, but you cannot start from a purely rational perspective.
I'm a little confused, like what we're talking about here. Like I look at, and this is why I brought the 6 things up, because I said these are the ideas that are essential to what we conceptualize as liberalism and what I conceptualize as a functioning society. Like these are the things that you need. You need freedom of speech. You need secure property rights. You need, here, let me just look them up.
Yeah, but rational people
hold on. You need individual rights. You need equal protection under the law. So there's a semblance of fairness, which obviously appeals to the moral intuitions of fairness that you can argue there's a biological component to. Right. I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm saying these are the core ideas, and we need to focus on how to sustain those ideas over time. Like we've had a lot of debate on the show about freedom of speech, because freedom of speech seems to be something we're tacitly connected to, because people love to deny the speech of people they disagree with. And then, when they're being suppressed, oh, we need freedom of speech, right? They're completely hypocritical about it. Now, how you foster a respect for that meme in society is a completely different thing. I mean, 1,000 years ago, the priest would have come out and said, God loves freedom of speech, and that we all want to be like the archetype of God, and God loves freedom of speech, so we should love freedom of speech. And that was a good justification to sustain this idea over time. As people lost interest in the priest, they're like, this guy's a charlatan, a grifter. Yep. Now we need a new justification, because I'm saying these 6 core principles need some sort of way to sustain them over time. Now, you're talking and saying a lot of things about we need to examine religion and this and that and this and that. All you're doing is saying, I'm looking for a good justification that'll work with some people. Of course, it won't work with everyone. Everyone is using different justifications now. Like so
sure, based on temperament.
So what is the point of saying, like, we need this justification that's going to work for everyone? I think we live in such a complex world that we really need to be thinking, okay, different people require different justifications for different things. Like, we literally have, something like freedom of speech. I would think more liberal types are appealing to a completely different justification. They don't like people telling them what to do, which is the Liberty Oppression Foundation. And I think conservatives are appealing to a sense of tradition. This is the Constitution. Our sacred document says that so it's a completely different moral intuition that they're using, and a completely different justification. But we're both coming to the assumption freedom of speech is necessary for society. And I believe it is.
I agree. But how do we, I guess...
How do we make the conservatives and progressives agree on the justification? That's a fool's errand.
Well, not if there's separate justifications based on temperament. I think that's what we were talking about. Why is freedom of... Can you not make a rational case against free speech?
I do, but I'm one of the few that does. And I did in my thing. I said, listen, freedom of speech, the reason for it is conflict resolution through persuasion instead of violence. And the negation of these are queer theory, CRT, and obviously there are a half a dozen religious, like Islam is against freedom of speech, obviously, blasphemy laws.
Right.
So those are negations of this idea that takes a lot of work to sustain in culture, and that is a scientific justification for it.
It's a scientific justification, but if Islam, I don't know much about Islam, but you said Islam.
Conflict resolution through persuasion instead of violence is the scientific justification.
Right, but what if people say that hate speech causes more harm by allowing anyone to speak? That's harmful.
They are saying
rational.
They are saying that now.
Right. So that's the rational argument against it.
So they're appealing to, they're making a rational argument. So you're saying, this is the problem that I had in the Carl debate.
Sure.
Like, so just because somebody can make an argument against something, that makes the argument. I mean, obviously in this argument, the next step, you're saying, I'm going to make a rational argument, you're making a rational argument, as we start looking at evidence, right? We start pulling out, here are the societies where they have freedom of speech. Here are the societies where they don't have freedom of speech. We start looking at things. We start saying, what metric are we going to evaluate this society is more successful? I mean, how do you want to, and this is where you start running into the Aizat problem, because immediately the people will say, well, you can't make a moral claim that the United States is better than Japan. And I'm like,
sure. Okay. Sure. Yes. I think, okay.
You can't make a moral claim that the United States is better than North Korea.
Okay. This is good, because I think I know where we can take this to see where we disagree.